Biden administration tells us that they're going to solve it, right? This
Okay.
idea with solar panels, because they know you are hurting when it comes to gas prices. And so they're saying we're going to scramble in order to bump up our use of clean energy by using the Defense Production Act to do this. Now, the Defense Production Act was also used recently to rush production of baby formula, as well as getting raw materials to weapons makers for the war in Ukraine. So this act is busy these days. So why use it on solar panels? Well, here is some background. When Trump took office, you may remember that he was big on let's make everything ourselves, which was a great idea, right? Except the U.S. is not really set up to make solar panels. In fact, there are factories in the U.S. that do this, but they don't have any of the raw materials. They get it all from, any guesses?
China. It's pronounced Gina.
Yes, from Asia. Specifically.
Asia, okay.
Now, Trump slapped a tariff on Chinese imports of solar panels and components, and the market basically skid to a halt. According to the Department of Energy, our last booming year for solar industry was 2016, with 43% of electric power generation workforce employed in solar technologies. That accounted for about 374,000 jobs. But then the Trump era tariffs came and about 100,000 of those jobs were gone because solar makers just couldn't make them out of nothing, right? And they also couldn't afford to pay that 15 to 30% import tax. So in February, the Biden administration actually approved a 4-year extension of those taxes. But then this week, the administration now says it will put a pause on those for just 2 years. So the administration is calling this a, quote, 24-month bridge as domestic manufacturers rapidly scale up to ensure the reliability of the components that U.S. solar deployers need to construct clean energy projects and an electric grid for the 21st century, while reinforcing the integrity of our trade laws and processes. So it does feel very much like we know you're hurting because we, haven't pulled ourselves off of fossil fuels. So we're going to ramp up on solar panels. Don't worry, we got it. So you can calm down about these high gas prices, which, right? Does that feel comforting?
So how long? Yeah. And how long? I mean, no, not at all. Like the amount of overlap on this is ridiculous, right? So we're hurting right now, right? And the barrel of crude could go from $150 or $160 to $300 a barrel.
Yes.
So you're going to get solar panels up and set up so that when I drive to work, that's going to somehow affect my ability to fill up my gas tank?
Well, what I want to point out to you is sort of thinking about this clean energy solution as just a country that we can just solve it inside of our politics, right? But hurt China because we don't want our panels from China. But then at the same time, we can hurt Russia. Like, that is not how the planet works. The planet needs healing, like everybody, right? And
right.
So while U.S. companies now or actually the U.S. government is looking into whether these U.S. companies got Chinese components by shipping them through other Southeast Asian countries. So the Biden administration says, look, we've had these tariffs on these components for a long time. We think that some U.S. companies actually bought from China, but they had them shipped through other U.S. Southeast Asian countries and got around the tariffs that way. And we want to know who did that and maybe impose some sort of back taxes or penalty on them. Okay. We're upset that you did it, but now we're going to lessen the tariff or get rid of it for a while so you can get them directly. You shouldn't have been, and we're going to find you if you did, but now you can, right, is what we're going to
find you. What you did was wrong, but now we realize that.
But now you can do it.
But now we realize that, like, hey, actually, it's a good idea. So now you can do it going forward, but we're going to still fine you if you did it before.
Right. And I mean, think about sort of the idea of solar technology is that we're lowering the carbon footprint of energy, right? So, but these solar panels or these components have been mined in China and then shipped like around the long way to get to a factory to be assembled in the United States, right? So there's a high carbon footprint on those components before they even become a solar panel.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's so much debate too, and we got a lot of people calling out like the Greta Thunberg and the whole Thunberg, and all of the people at Davos about this idea of the carbon footprint, and like, well, okay, so all of these big companies get to like measure carbon footprints. Like, what even is that? What does that mean? What is the garbage that actually goes into that? What is an actual carbon footprint? Can you show me that it's actually better for us to do this, like reach around on solar panels, than it is for me to literally just get the oil out of my backyard and actually start pumping oil? Like, I mean, prove it to me, because I don't think they are.
Not to mention that, I mean, there's a lot of water that goes into the manufacture of a solar panel because it is made of silicone semiconductors. And each semiconductor takes about 10 gallons per chip. There are, by some estimates, that semiconductor factories use between 2 and 4 million gallons of water per day.
Wow.
So, if but we're all so super convinced that this is better and that we need it in the United States now. But, it's okay if we get these products from China and they, ship things around the world and they use a ton of water to make them. But as long as they make it to us, it's okay. And then we'll put it together and then we'll have more solar power and then it's all going to be all right. And I mean, one, that does not power really very much in your life right now. Right. And two, that is sort of a fragmented way of thinking of environmentalist policy. And that's just really not how the planet works. Like, we can't say, oh, China, you use all the water and you ship it and that's okay, right? And then when it gets here, it will, like, it's sort of asinine thinking, but it's another example of how the Biden administration is telling us, it's okay, we're going to fix it. Like, applaud us for these decisions because we realize what's happened here. And, clean energy is going to save us all.
Right.
A minute too late.
Well, and also you think about like wind power as well. So wind, they get these giant turbines, and they have no way, when they stop working and they're broken down, they have no way to recycle these things. So they have they're graveyards with these giant, I don't even know what they're called, windmill arms. What are the things that that do the winding?
Blades.
I knew there was going to be a word. So they don't even have a way to recycle these things, so they have there's graveyards of these giant blades. But no one thinks about that stuff. They're just like, as long as they look good, we can actually subsidize this stuff.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. That's how the cookie crumbles. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. We've been banned, we've been blocked, we've been censored. That's why we started our own website, to stay connected with you for free.
That's right. So head on over to redacted.inc and make sure you're connected with us. You can sign up again at redacted.inc, not .com.